Hello Year 7, this podcast here is to help you revise for the upcoming test, and this is going to cover our entire first topic that we studied over the first 4 weeks, people and places. So the first week was more of an induction, but we did look at this picture you can see here in terms of the different countries, different oceans, 7 continents and 5 oceans. Okay. Don't forget, in terms of the equator goes through the middle. You can see it on this diagram here. And the further away from the equator you go, the higher latitude, because latitude is, in other words, a horizontal line that goes across the planet. So going from left to right or right to left, latitude is going from sideways, side to side, and then longitude is going up and down. Okay, but that is just a generic world map. You can see different countries, cities and stuff on this. We then looked at hey you over there. So we looked at what Earth is like. It has gravity. It's the reason why we are 4.6 billion years old and going around the sun is because of gravity. We're traveling at 108,000 kilometers an hour. We go around the sun once a year, although we spin around on our axes once per day. In the UK, for example, it works out that we're spinning at about 1,400 kilometers an hour, because one spin takes a full day. But don't forget, the nearer the equator you are, the faster you're moving. So in northern Cyprus, we're moving faster than in the UK because we've got further to go in the same amount of time. Because obviously the Earth being a sphere, not perfect, but a sphere, means that the middle of the Earth is wider than the top of it. Okay? Anyway, Earth is big, the planet Earth is big, about 40,000 kilometers around the equator. It's made of rock, but inside you have metals. We have iron and nickel in the core. Most of the Earth is oceans, like around 70% of the Earth is ocean. The rest of it is continents. And the oceans can be very, very deep in places. Obviously, above the ground, we have the atmosphere. It can be up to 1,000 kilometers high, but most of the gas that we need to breathe lies in the lowest 30 kilometers, and that is our air. We also looked at elephants, jellyfish, and people in terms of species, but the exact amount of species is still unknown to us. We are still finding new species all the time. But obviously, human actions are changing the planet. We are, unfortunately, removing animals through hunting and stuff. So animal species are dying out. Natural processes, but also what humans are doing. And don't forget that sometimes 24 hours we have the sun, and other times it is nighttime because the Earth is spinning around the sun. We then had our next lesson, which was like your place on the planet. So for this one, we looked at those different examples of places. We looked at Hassan's place, for example. We looked at how people maybe live on floating islands, how people live in huts in poorer areas. We looked at people who live in colder climates, people who live on the streets, people who live in big cities and high-rise buildings, people who live on nice Pacific islands. And we ultimately tried to work out what these people have that we don't and what we have that they don't. Whether that be access to education, healthcare, whether that be access to certain facilities and shops and services. It depends, because not everywhere in the world has the same climate, but also not everywhere in the world has the same amount of money. So there's inequality across the planet, which we kind of touched on in our next lesson, number 4. It's all geography. So we looked at breaking down what geography means. So there's physical geography. That's what our planet is like. Rivers, the sea, coast, weather, climate, earthquakes, volcanoes, floods. Then you can learn in geography about human geography. So that's about how and where we live, about people, places, sport, work, crime, countries, inequality, how you make these places a fairer place. And then you have environmental geography. So it links into physical geography, but environmental geography is how we affect our surroundings. So, pollution of the land, pollution of the air and the water, killing species, our waste, how we are warming the Earth's climate up. It's happened naturally, but also now human actions are enhancing that process, and how we have to take more care. So we looked at 3 different types of geography, and that is our first topic. Any questions, come and see me. But ultimately, use this podcast to help you revise. You're doing really, really well. Take care, guys.